Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folani. Well, as we know, today is the first of a two-day strike, and well, it's not so much a strike as a rally. In fact, we shall be talking about those terminologies. Is it a rally? Is it a protest? It's not a strike for sure. And as you know, it's going to, be happening in all the state capitals. And then tomorrow, the big one in the federal capital over in Abuja. Okay, we have some reports. Our woman, Sharon Ijason, is out there as well. We shall be speaking shortly with the president of Nigeria Labour Congress, Comrade Dayuba Waba. But just before then, set the scene. Let's take the report from Ibadan.
On tertiary education, we must rise up to this challenge. We must not leave the battle to the university workers alone. All of us as citizens of this country must rise up and rally around university workers. Enough! Enough! So that is why we are on the road to own back our country, to take back our country.
A snippet there. And there was also another one. We have another report from Ogun just before we come to the Lagos report, which we, shall shortly be bringing you. Let's see what it was like in, Ogun State.
On tertiary education, we must rise up to this challenge. We must not leave the battle to the university workers alone. All of us as citizens of this country must rise up and rally around university workers. Enough! Enough! On tertiary education, we must rise up to this challenge. We must not leave the battle to the university workers alone. All of us as citizens.
We do apologize. That was the same film that you saw earlier. These mix-ups do happen from time to time. But so it's supposed to be a rally, and right now in Lagos, it has they took off from Ikeja. Ikeja Central, Ikeja bus stop is the venue, and right now they're in progress towards Alausa, where the NLC people will be handing over a communication, a message to the governor for onward transmission to the president. Well, actually, it's a rally. And as you know, the police have said all over the country, all the formations of police have said that, well, just to make sure that things are not hijacked, they shall, between the police and the Civil Defense Corps, they shall have men out protecting both the people in the rally and indeed members of the public. Okay, this is a protest that's going on. I must be careful. I didn't want to use the word protest, not until we've cleared with, because it's supposed to be something of a rally in support of the ASUU. Did I hear that there's a caller from London already?
Good morning, Dr. Yori.
Good morning, Mr. Ade in
Ade?
London.
Yes. Yes. You see, this ASUU protest, I'm not in support of protest. I'm in support of strike. Let them go in total strike.
The ASUU, wait a minute. The ASUU, you said, the NLC.
The NLC.
Okay, it's a rally.
NLC to call for general strike.
It's a rally. Okay.
Yeah, no, rally will not work. Let them call for total strike, because university is a serious business. Last Tuesday, my last boy graduated from Leicester University. When I was there, I saw people who came from Nigeria. Those are our brothers from the north. There were many there, just to come and celebrate their children there, which is a good thing. But that is why we have a decade university in Nigeria. They don't care because their children are here. My last boy was graduated yesterday from last Tuesday from Leicester with first class. I saw all of them. We saw ourselves there. They even come with some children, 5 years, 6 years, whatever. Many of them like that. So they don't. It's the poor people that are suffering in our country. Let NLC call for total shutdown of the country, especially aviation and port authority. That will affect the big men. So they will be serious with our university system. Because now our children are suffering at home. They are there, doing all sorts of things. It's affecting us and giving us a bad image. Here, they bring their children and they can afford it. You can imagine how much a foreign student will cost in university here. Between 20 to 25,000 pounds per year. You can imagine that. How many people that will send to school in Nigeria? But they don't care.
All right, then.
Happy about what is going on.
Okay.
So,
thank you very much.
That's right. NLC shut down everything.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Yori.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ade, calling in from the UK. Well, actually, I think the NLC is not about to go down that particular route. I think NLC is being, shall we say, reasonable about it, giving government advance notice and, plentiful notice to do the needful. So this rally is to indicate support for the university system, the university lecturers, ASUU, that has university workers that has shut down since February. So, maybe, in fact, depending on which faction of, which section of the NLC you're speaking to, some of them say that, no need to lock shop, no need to leave your work, it's a rally, it's in support of. Good morning, Mr. George.
Good morning, if I can say so.
Yes.
On the contrary, I want to disagree slightly with my brother in London. You see, the NLC as a labor movement. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
NLC as a labor movement, we are all aware that they recently transformed or declared their allegiance to a political party. And this strike has been on for 6 months. ASUU has been striking for more than 20 years. And the same issues have been on the ground. Several other things have been happening in this society that NLC have been turning their back against us. Because they have interest in coming elections now, I see it as a politically motivated step in order to run down somebody so that they can win. After all, whereas NLC, I am not in support of the way the government is handling ASUU. I believe the government should have handled ASUU better. They are not the person they put to negotiate with them is probably not giving the president the right picture. And I do not support a system where our students can be at home for 6 months. It is unacceptable.
Indeed.
But the NLC is capitalizing on a situation for selfish reasons. And if I were in government, I will get their leaders arrested. What they are doing tantamounts to an attempt to create confusion in the midst of insecurity in Nigeria, to compound things for selfish interest. We know the people that are motivating them to do this.
Okay.
And it is not right.
All right, then. Well, thank you very much for calling in, Mr. George, with that opinion. As I was saying, the terms are being used loosely. You see strike somewhere, a protest somewhere, and a rally somewhere. And at the same time, you see some sections of NLC saying, no, just go about your business. People should, labor, union officials, of course, will be involved. Anybody else is welcome. It's supposed to be a rally, but then between a rally and some of the posters you saw there, you would have seen where I think it was called a protest. It was called a protest. At the moment, the protest, unless it is protesting the extraordinary length of the ASUU action, which Mr. George was speaking about. Mr. George even alleging some political sort of involvement in the whole process. Well, the idea, as far as we can tell, as I said, we are scheduled and are trying to connect with Comrade Ayuba Waba, president of NLC, and in the meantime, in Lagos here, the march has started. This rally, they're on the way to Alausa now to meet with the governor. Sharon Ijason will be linking up with her, as I said earlier. And but in the meantime, this is recorded material of the situation in Ogun State. We also have one that's all about Oyo State. This particular strike is in the, action. And this particular action, I don't want to call it a strike, not until I hear from the experts themselves, or shall I say people who are there doing it. In fact, I don't know if I have anybody now on the line. Could you confirm that, please? Did you say something? Okay. I think we have the NLC president now, Comrade Ayuba Waba. Good morning to you, Comrade Waba.
Yes, good morning.
Thank you very much for making the time for us. Okay, the action, the sort of, in fact, we want to know what to call it. Is it a rally? Is it a protest? But this action going on in state capitals across the country before the event, the final event tomorrow. So what is the proper nomenclature for this particular action?
Yes, it's a protest.
It's a protest?
Yes, it's a protest rally.
Oh, well,
actually, to draw attention on the fact that our tertiary institutions, particularly universities, have been shut down for the past 5 months. And all attempts to make sure that there is progress on the discussion to reopen the universities have not yielded any result. And basically, you know that time lost is not also time that can be gained. It's the children of the poor and the children of the working class. So everybody is affected. But importantly, we are more affected because also all the 4 unions involved, the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, National Association of Academic Technologies, Non-Academic Staff Union, and also the Academic Staff Union of Nigerian Universities. All of them are also members of NLC, and their membership are membership of NLC. So we are directly involved. It's not solidarity. We are directly involved as an organization, and that's why we thought that we should be able to lend our voice, but also to prompt for an action so that this issue can be resolved once and for all. And this is like a matter of making sure that it's also brought to public attention and, importantly, the attention of government. Because softly, we have also done a lot of things behind the scene, including writing proactive letters. Before the issue degenerated to the level of strike, we wrote several letters. And importantly, also, we're able to try to intervene. But all these interventions have not been able to yield the desired results. And basically, time is still being lost. But importantly, those kids are still at home. In fact, to compound the issue, we have 3 sets of students that are also processing their admission. For the past 3 years, also, they are still actually in this whole quagmire of not being able to complete the process of their admission, and they are also affected. So it's a very serious issue. And you know, education is very fundamental to promote schools' well-being. So that's why NLC, after a lot of other efforts, thought that this is just the first line. The second line of action will be then a 3-day strike if this action fails. So basically, it's not a strike, but it's actually a national protest which is taking place across the length and breadth of this country.
Okay, so as you put it, it's like a protest rally, you know, in support of ASUU. But as you're also pointing out, we're all members of NLC anyway, so you're not outside to the matter. Is it a rally in the sense that it's not, a strike has not been called? A strike has not been called, so shops can open, offices are open, nobody's expected to leave his duty post, but whoever can join will join. Is that the correct way to view it?
Yes, there is a difference between a strike. A strike means you withdraw your services. And we know the implication of that. That's why we are taking time before we do that, except it becomes a matter of utmost necessity. And where there is insensitivity to the plight of those kids and also the plight of we, the parents. Except it becomes necessary. This is just like the first leg to actually raise the attention of government that this issue is of serious concern to us as workers, and even adds to injury. Those workers in the universities, all of them, their salary have been suspended for the past 5 months, some 3 months, and you know also that they have families. And I could remember the last high-powered meeting we had with government, where our religious leaders were also in attendance, especially His Eminence the Sultan of Sokoto and the current president. Part of the plea on the table, we even try to resolve the issue, is to go and pay their salaries that were withheld. Because the labor administration, in respect to some of those issues, have been very dynamic, and it has changed. It's no longer the issue of servant-master relationship. It's a relationship that is supposed to be mutual between the employer and the employee, and with respect to the provisions of our laws. And that's why in labor parliament, when you sign agreement, those agreements like judgments of the court. They can be reviewed, but they are like judgments of the court that ought to be respected. And where they are not respected, you can then go and invoke the no work, no pay rule, because it is first the employer or government have actually violated a collective bargaining agreement. So in the context of this, if you then invoke no work, no pay, and the workers' union and their workers also invoked no pay, no work, you know that we are already at a situation that is actually desirous of solution. Yeah. This is where we are right now. And basically, the issues are not very tidy up. And what we need to do now is to tidy up this process and get most universities open for the benefit of Nigerian students, because education is a very key necessity to address poverty, inequality, but importantly, is also a fundamental right of citizens, particularly those young ones.
Okay. Quite frankly, there are those who, for instance, one of our callers has said that he discerns a political motive to this particular protest action, rally, that now we have a lot of issues on ground, and in the midst of all the complications, if NLC is throwing its weight behind ASUU, it will only complicate the matter. First of all, react to that whole matter about the suspicion of any political aspect to this rally that has been called.
Simple. Maybe it's first to define, or let's try to understand, what is politics. Politics, in its real definition, is about how a state is governed, how you allocate resources, how you take decisions, and how you are able to address issues. That is the definition of politics. So possibly the person may not have understand the import of saying that it's politics. Is it also politics to keep our children, the children of the poor and the working class, 5 months out of classroom? Is it also politics to delay the negotiation process? Is it also politics not to act proactively? Those are the issues. I think we should be able to distill, yes, we're in political season, and people are free to try to act and behave in a way and manner that will not address the issue. I agree with him, yeah, it's a political season, and attention has been diverted to the issue of politics, leaving the substantive issues. But I assure you that this is a very key and germane issue, and we think that it should be given all the desired attention. In fact, everything will be brought to a halt until we are able to solve this issue. So I want to assure you that possibly you spoke from the point of lack of understanding, even what is the definition of politics, and what is the politics of it. Yeah, it's politics. It's about politics also for those concerned to take decisions. If they don't take decisions, you don't also expect citizens to fold their arms. We are a pan-Nigerian organization, and from time immemorial, we have acted in the best national interest. That is one credential that the Nigerian Labour Congress have had, and I think this is one of them.
The ASUU has been unsuccessful trying to mediate on the matter, and as you said, with many people as intermediaries, ASUU themselves have tried, and it seems that they're not getting joy from government. You're well aware of all those efforts ASUU has tried since back in February. Now, I don't know how optimistic you are, because this looks like a mass action to force a resolution, which is sorely needed. How optimistic are you, given that a government has not been able to come across, the authorities have not been able to come across, meet ASUU at a place where, they can say, fine, this is compromise. It looks like whatever it is ASUU has been offered, if anything at all, it just isn't worth it to take it. So how optimistic are you that that same center of authority will do things differently this time?
Yes, first let me try to explain. It's not only ASUU. The 4 university-based unions have all withdrawn their services. Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, Academic Staff Union of Nigerian Universities, National Association of Academic Technologies, and Non-Academic Staff Union. And all of them borders on one issue: the review of the 2009 agreement and the fund of our Nigerian universities. And let me try to break it down into pieces so that you can understand. The fund of Nigerian universities has its roots from the need assessment report of government. It's not the unions. Need assessment report was carried out under the chairmanship of Professor Mahmoud Yakub. That report had been accepted by the National Executive Council and is also approved for implementation since 2011. And if you look at that report, picture at the back of that report, you can see students taking lectures from the window instead of being inside the hall because the hall is filled up. It's about bringing our universities to the level where learning and teaching facilities will be available and we can compete favorably with contemporaries of Nigerian universities around the world. So basically, it's very patriotic, and we should be able to look at that. The second aspect is about the payment platform, which is in dispute. Since the deployment of IPs, even in the core civil service, I can tell you that I've received several reports. And proactively, we wrote to government, can you have a social dialogue where this issue can be resolved? Before it even degenerated to this level, we wrote. So it's one of the issues, and many other issues. But importantly also is the review of the 2009 agreement. I can tell you that from 2009 agreement to date, those workers have been on fixed salary. And that is why a professor in Nigeria, even if you have 7, 8 PhDs, will not be earning up to $700. $700, I said, because no Nigerian professor or worker in the university is earning 500,000 naira. We have in other climes, even within Nigeria, in other establishments, where a driver can earn actually 500,000, and they are earning. I can give you a lot of examples. So basically, because of that, there have been a lot of brain drain. There has also been a lack of job satisfaction. Workers earn to earn a living. Everybody work to earn a living, to be able to have a family, to take care of his family. That's why people work to earn a living. But you also know that with the challenges in our economy, with the exchange rate of 607 naira to the dollar today, basically, if you are within the category of those workers, you know that it's really valid. And that agreement of 2009 have expired, and therefore it needs to be renegotiated. They are not fixated on saying that you must give us this. No, they are ready to negotiate, and from the assurance I've received from all of the unions, they are ready even within 48 hours for those issues to be sorted out. In the past 5 months, it has been moving from Ministry of Education to Labor to Education, and the issues have remained unresolved. And you remembered that in April, we had to scale it up to the level of the president, where we wrote and pleaded that, can we have a high-powered panel to look at this issue and resolve it once and for all? Why do we say so? In the past, it has happened. I remembered I was part of the panel in 2011, when this issue also degenerated to the level where it is. We wrote to President Jonathan, and he agreed. In fact, he hosted the meeting, 14 hours, no break. Everything was resolved. Every fact was put on the table. Every minister was there. Everybody that have to do with the decision process was there, and the issue was resolved. That's how that 2009 agreement was signed, implemented, and then we had some relative. That agreement of 2009, under the Labour Palace, a collective bargaining agreement have a timeline because of a lot of factors that will affect it. It has expired. In fact, in many sectors, including the private sector, collective bargaining agreements reviewed after every 2 years or 3 years. In this case, let's say even 5 years.
Yeah.
So validly, that collective bargaining agreement have expired.
Okay.
And government on its own have set up 3 committees.
Okay.
Comrade
Waba, we've got
remember the Babalakin committee.
Yes, our guest, Comrade Ayuba Waba, President of the Nigeria Labour Congress, is in Abuja, and we are on the line. We're back, President of NLC, and you were talking about the 2009 Memorandum of Understanding that has expired and is, it requires action, a renewal or whatever. This, it would appear government is unable to do. You know that bottom line, what government has been saying, bottom line is that we don't have the wherewithal. They always say that, by the way. We don't have the wherewithal to meet the demands of the strike, and so we require understanding.
Well, thank you very much. In fact, before you went on break, I was trying to give the historical context.
Okay.
It's not a memorandum of understanding in Labour Palace. It is a collective bargaining agreement.
Okay, I'm sorry, I take the correction. A collective bargaining agreement of 2009.
Collective bargaining agreement. That's what the law recognizes. So, as I was saying, it has timeline. It has also a lifespan. That agreement was due for renegotiation. Renegotiation means all factors will be considered. Ability to pay, every other factor will be considered. So it's not just about saying that the process has been delayed or that there are a lot of impediment. It's to approach negotiation in good faith and put all the facts on the table. Negotiation must have also timeline. And as I was saying, 3 committees have been set up, and none of them have actually their reports seen the light of the day. It started with the Babalakin committee, you remembered. Then the Professor Munzli Jibrin committee. Is a government set-up committee to negotiate with us, which have been the tradition, with full mandates from government. Our expectation is that any committee government will set is also to give them all the information required and also the full mandate. It's a government committee. So all those 3 committees, including the recently inaugurated BRICS committee that have just made their report, are all committees set up by government with full mandate, I suppose, to be able to negotiate and resolve the issues.
But I'm sure
so the 2 other reports.
Comrade, I'm sure you would have sought an explanation. What explanation did you get in the light of these plain facts that you are stating?
No, I'm not sure it's for us to get explanation. If a government set up a committee, you set up a committee, you give them time of reference, you give them what you can afford, and they turn in the report, and you rejected the report. It's for you to give explanation. This is the reason why I thought the report is not tenable. And in any case, why must you wait?
Yeah.
The committee to work for 4 or 5 years before saying they finish their report and say, well, I'm rejecting the report because of ABC. I'm not sure it's in good faith. Because it's like you are sending somebody on an assignment. You need to give him a very clear picture of what you want him to achieve and also what timeline he needed to achieve all of that.
Okay.
Not that after he has finished, then you say, no, that you forgot something or something went wrong. I'm not sure it's negotiating in good faith.
Okay, Comrade Waba, 1 second, please. 1 second, please, Comrade Waba, because we have to cut to a live section. Our correspondent, Sharon Ijason, is with the Lagos NLC and their protest. Hi, Sharon. Thanks for, coming on. So where are we now? It looks, I was expecting a whole crowd behind you or in front of you, or you be in the midst of them. So what's happening? It looks pretty quiet there.
Massive. I had to step aside to take this live crossing. We had over 1,000 workers here walk from Ikeja under bridge, and right now the workers are approaching the state secretariat right now for our transmission of the demands of NLC to the governor of Lagos State, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, for onward transmission to the president of the country, President Muhammadu Buhari.
Well, that's what you have now. Are those buses part of those yellow buses, mini buses I can see? Are they part of transportation?
This is the effect of the protest here that you can see here at Secretariat Alausa Ikeja. We have the workers ahead of these buses. Lagos has been filled with traffic today because of the effect of the workers' protest. And of course, most of the motorists that we spoke with are actually in support of the protest, which is being held by the Nigerian Labour Congress because of the unions under it that have been on strike for a while, which is the Staff Union of University, NASU, SANU, and NAT. So this is the effect of the protest that is ongoing in Lagos, Nigeria. We have all affiliate members on ground ensuring that the protest is successful.
Yeah, in fact, I was going to ask you about that, security-wise, because as you know, the police, understandably, were saying that they would be out.
Here in Lagos, Nigeria, and I think the message has been sent across government. The message is clear. The union resolute, the Congress remains resolute to that a lasting solution is actually given to the university tertiary. As far as they are concerned, students have been at home for months, and that cannot or a change. They feel that the federal government will have to take to ensure that students return back to the class.
Okay, Sharon, it's a bit difficult to hear in studio here, but hopefully it's not that way at home. But I was going to, your picture seems to have frozen, but if you can hear me, security seems to be under control, right? Because the police had said that they would be also in evidence to protect both the members of the rally, the protest rally. Yes, that's the way the chairman, the president, I beg your pardon, president of NLC called it, that they will be in attendance to ensure the safety of everything. Well, Mr. President, Sharon's video froze a bit there, but as she was saying, they've arrived to deliver a message to the governor. We'll know if he can take it personally or if he's going to be assisted there by a representative. But the message is going to probably be along the lines of what you have been speaking about as well, because it's just one message. Quite frankly, if they were to codify it, people seem to have adopted an enough is enough posture. Is that indeed an approved slogan? Enough is enough of all of this running around, as you were saying, from labor to the other ministry, education, and from education back to labor. Enough is enough. We want clarity. We want action. Is that correct to say that's what NLC is saying? There is no option beyond that now.
Thank you. Exactly. 5 months down the line, having our children at home certainly is not something will be acceptable to anybody. And it has happened, but we want also the issue to be brought out to an end. That is the main message.
Okay.
That we must all get the issue sorted out and get the universities open, because if not, then are we in perpetuity allowing the situation to continue? I think that is the main message,
okay,
which we have sent out, and that priority to be given to the issue at the moment.
If, of course, we certainly, I imagine all will certainly hope that this particular protest rally will do the trick. But again, being theoretical about it, if you were not to get joy from this, if things were to remain exactly the same, you had explained that beyond this, then there's a rally tomorrow in Abuja, and failing that, you give some time before you now go on a total strike to really underline what is,
Yes, we don't hope that we should actually reach a stage where we need to withdraw services, because that's why we thought that this protest will actually send enough signal that parents, students are not happy and that something needs to be done. So we hope that this will send a message. But basically, we have taken, as we are 3 lines of decision. After this, we'll also proceed on 3 days national warning strike if nothing happens. And basically, before then, the strike then can also continue. So we thought it's very reasonable. It's very patriotic, that needed to be commended, and that we need to take advantage and leverage of all of these detailed procedures that we have put in motion to be able to resolve the issue once and for all. Maybe it's also that people don't understand the import and the implication of having our children out of school in all public universities for 5 months. But importantly also, we have 3 sets of students that are processing their admission, that the entire process is also hanging in the balance. We're talking about what will affect about 10 million students, I was told. It's about their future. It's also about the future of our country. And this is very, very important and central. Whereas the unions will be ready to make compromises and try to reach a resolution. But I think I've not seen the enthusiasm and also the urgency on the part of government.
But the president...
I say so because of the fact that...
Sorry, the president spoke recently.
Let me land. I say so because of the fact that I said we have done many things behind the scene to try to resolve this issue. Several tests and several consultations. The last one, which we made public, is the one we wrote directly to the president through the chief of staff to urge Mr. President to constitute a high-powered panel and bring every party to the table to resolve the issue once and for all. That was the meeting that was actually conveyed on the 12th of April, where the 2 leaders of our faiths were also there. And the meeting was adjourned because some informations are required, particularly the report of the committee set up by government, and also the report of the integrity test that is being carried out by an agency of government on the various platforms proposed by the unions, including also integrity tests on the current platform, IPs. And since then, almost 2 months now, that meeting have not been reconvened. That's why we said we need some urgency. We need people also to go and work assiduously. I was told that at that meeting where the platform is supposed to be tested, whereas at the meeting chaired by the chief of staff, we all agreed that that committee should work from morning till evening. I learned that those agencies of government, they say no, they can only work from 12 to 6 p.m., delaying the entire process. So we cannot blame workers or trade unions for lack of urgency in trying to resolve the issue. And that is why we are now, this time around, saying that everybody will be prompted to try to work assiduously, even to respond to the issue. Yes, we are aware in the last 1 week, there was a decision to try to fast-track the process and get issues resolved within 2 weeks. We have already spent 1 week. And I'm not sure any meeting have been held. The unions, well, government may be consulting, but basically no meeting was held with the unions. So I think it's also a problematic if the issues are handled instead of working holistically to try to respond to the issues. So these are perspectives that I think we need to bring to the table, and that we have done also behind the scene to try to push some of those processes. If you remember, the decision to actually hold this national rally was taken twice at our National Executive Council meeting. First, in April, and the second one on the 30th of June, when we saw that progress is not being made, and importantly, the issue is so important to all of us. I was coming from Uyo yesterday after declaring open the annual rain school of the NLC. And And I met a woman, I shared this story early today, a woman that is frying akra. In fact, she accosted me because I was walking past a street and she accosted me. Oh, that is from what she's doing, frying akra and yam, and she was able to sponsor her son to the university. Now the son had been at home for 5 months. That what are we doing? That she will be doing an action to find a solution around the issues. I said yes. I sympathized with her and said, you are not alone. That some of us are also affected. We have kids in public universities. And basically what we are saying is also what we practice, that we need to also patronize our Nigerian universities so that our kids can also benefit from quality public education. All our leaders.
One moment.
I can say that with nostalgia that all our current leaders, most of them, actually benefited from quality public universities.
Okay, one moment, Comrade Waba. Comrade Waba, one moment, please. We have a caller coming in from Major, I believe. Major calling in from Calabar.
No, from Akwa Ibom.
From Akwa Ibom. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning to you, Uncle Yuri.
Thank you for calling in.
Yeah, thank you very much. And please, I just want to react. I've been listening to the president of NLC.
Yes.
I think my own contribution is that, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
All right. My own contribution is that I think it will be very pertinent after this peaceful protest. They should go on a strike, because I think what government understands is strike and protest. But I think if they go on strike and let me say like two days, that will mean to the economy of Nigeria. And another thing, if aviation sector can join it, because I think that's one of the sectors that mostly affect our leaders. If they shut down the airline, they won't be able to fly. Remember once that aviation sector was threatening to go on to shut down their work. They just resolved that issue immediately. It was not even up to a day. But because of this strike, because their children are not schooling here, that is the problem that we are having. So I think that if they can shut down those two sectors, and that is the NLC can go on a strike, and aviation sector also join, I think that would be better. And what I'm saying is that someone that is the problem of this particular issue is the Minister of Labor, Chris Ngige, because I can see a situation that you're still negotiating. I think what the government is trying to do is that they are trying to prolong this issue so that this administration will elapse, so that maybe another administration will come and continue from there. Just imagine.
All right then. All right.
100 billion naira for alleviation of poverty.
Mr. Major, thank you very much for calling in. Comrade Waba, you heard that viewer, but you've explained earlier that there are stages to this whole matter. He is thinking that a strike is the only language that the authorities understand. Any other thing they might take undue advantage of.
Yes, that's to tell you the level of an extent to which people are actually concerned. And I agree with him that whereas the children of the rich and our political elites are graduating on daily basis from foreign universities, and they have the audacity to post the pictures on various social media, the children of the poor and the working class are actually at home for the past 5 months. So it's not acceptable anywhere. And therefore, that is how Nigerians feel. And that is how we also feel as parents, but importantly, as unionists. The issues can be resolved. There's the will. I'm convinced about that, because all trade union and labor issues are better handled on the table. And I think we have procedure which we have tried to put in place. All those informations are already in public domain about the procedures and also what the issues will turn out to be if at the end of the day this national protests have not yielded the desired results, and people are not committed to try to resolve the issue.
Okay, we can only hope for the best, comrade. I want to thank you, register appreciation for you coming on our show, Comrade Ayuba Waba, President, Nigeria Labour Congress. We certainly hope all these efforts will yield the desired results.
Thank you very much, and thank you for giving us the opportunity for the facts to be laid out. Thank you. Our
pleasure. Thank you very much. And so we're going to leave it there. Of course, TVC News will continue. We'll be on it right through the day up to tomorrow, as long as it takes, because it is an important national issue. So that's our program today. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I'm Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.